I'm joined on the phone now by Afri-Forum Deputy CEO Ernst Roets, as well as EFF spokesperson Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I'm going to start with you, Ernst. Good evening to you. Why has Afri-Forum decided to help the man involved in the altercation with Julius Malema open an assault case against him?
Thank you very much. We were approached by this member of the public who explained to us what happened, and he was concerned about the fact that this was a high-profile individual, a member of parliament and also the leader of a political party, and he asked for Afri-Forum as a civil rights organization to assist him with the protection of his civil rights.
Mbuyiseni, I'm going to bring you in here. Why did Julius not just call security to have the man escorted out of the premise instead of pushing him?
Look, we have a duty everywhere as leaders of political parties, as activists, but also as people of conscience, to confront racism wherever it rears its ugly head. And Afri-Forum has responded in this way because, they are wanting to defend racism. They didn't ask no questions. They just heard, oh, Julius Malema, was in an altercation with someone, let's jump in. But it's a typical response. It's a typical lynch mob response of racists who are trying to defend another racist who was put in his place.
Or accusations of racism. I'm going to bring you back here, Ernst. I've got to ask you, if the man pushed by Julius was black, would Afri-Forum have encouraged him to open up an assault case?
Well, yes, certainly. We certainly would have done that. But I need to respond to the statement or the statement that was issued by the EFF. Frankly, we were not surprised. We expected that the EFF would respond in such a way, simply because it's the easiest way out for them to say, no, this person was using the K word and therefore Malema had to intervene. But I would encourage viewers to look at that video again and honestly decide for themselves if they believe that this person would walk into the restaurant where there was 10 or 15 black South Africans already standing and simply started hurling out the K word. I had an honest discussion with the person and a long discussion, and I concede that I was not there that evening, the same way that Mbuyiseni was not there that evening. But I believe the version of Mr. Kasimola, and we said to him, we asked him particularly, did you say anything racist? Did you say anything that can be interpreted in any way as that it could have provoked Malema? And he said to us no, and I believe his version of what happened.
Well, Mbuyiseni, I'm going to ask you the same question, or at least similarly. Had the man been a black man, would Julius have reacted in the same manner?
We will defend the black workers everywhere in the country, whether they are being treated by Cyril Ramaphosa or a white person, whether they're being abused in that way. We will stand and will defend the dignity of workers who work hard under unpaid conditions to provide services for all South Africans. And that's precisely what happened that day. We're very proud of the conduct of the Commander-in-Chief, and we're saying all South Africans should emulate him to make sure that wherever they find people who abuse, who shout at workers in this country, they respond decisively to make sure that situations of respect, of mutual respect are there. Now, I have no time, and for Afri-Forum does this all the time. It's known, and this is a typical lynch mob response, signifying the acts of the Ku Klux Klan in the American South. You put one racist white person in his place, Afri-Forum comes out because it's just a lynch mob of Ku Klux Klans. That's all they are, and they're expected to respond this way.
Gentlemen, I've got a question for both of you then. Is this simply not a case, or at what point can we just get to a point where we can accept that possibly it was a case of a person that happened to have been pushed by a high-profile person? Ernst, I'll start with you to respond.
Well, I think that this is what it was, and that is why we are concerned, because, and this is not the first incident where this has happened. We can take it back to years ago to the BBC incident where Malema was swearing at a journalist, chasing him out of a press conference. Or we can take it to a more recent incident where a person was pulled off near the highway at Polokwane and he was allegedly pushed around by Malema and his friends. This person wanted to file complaints. As far as we could determine, the complaints were withdrawn. So it appears to us that Malema seems to have anger issues, and that he believes that he is above the law in the first place, and in the second place that he is above above his fellow South African citizens. And because of the fact that he is a high-profile South African, we feel it even more important to take a stand in this matter to ensure that members of Parliament and members of the EFF know that they are not above the law.
Mbuyiseni, I'll ask you to respond.
If there is anyone in this country who thinks above the law, it's white racists. And all black people have anger problems. I think this gentleman must understand that we have anger problems, all of us. We have anger problems about the conditions under which we continue to be treated as a group, and the conditions under which a lot of black workers continue to be treated in this country. It makes us angry, and we make no apology whatsoever of that anger. And if we respond to those acts as we see them in an angry way, then I think that he will himself admit that it's a legitimate anger. So it must be very clear. It must be very, very clear. No one abuses black workers in South Africa and will not get an angry response from an EFF member, and will never apologize for that. We'll defend the dignity of our people wherever it is being assaulted. But in this case, unfortunately, Afri-Forum is responding, and its response must be understood as a lynch mob response, like the Ku Klux Klan of the American South.
All right, EFF spokesperson Mbuyiseni Ndlozi and Deputy CEO of Afri-Forum, Ernst. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time tonight, and we will continue to track the story for you here on ANN7 Prime as it continues to unfold.